We were able to use it for a variety of fascinating purposes. It was pure. Then came the 1990s and the beginning of the 2000s, and what was that? At best, it was a duopoly between Intel and Microsoft. By placing all of these items on people's desks, they were able to take a significant tax. This was still largely beneficial, but it was somewhat constrained because the majority of the spoils went to these two businesses, while the other businesses were essentially run over. The DOJ then intervened in 2000 in an attempt to essentially remedy that on behalf of everyone. When that happened, the internet simply blew up. These gatekeepers suddenly disappeared if you possessed a PC after the internet threw the doors wide open. In actuality, it was no longer even relevant if you were using Intel. You didn't require Microsoft Windows because all you required was a browser, correct? Intel wasn't necessary either. Then, the internet itself blows up. We had a good moment, and then, let's say, 10 or 15 years of essentially commercial exploitation. Then there is worth. It seems to me that we have created something incredibly potent today. We've had 10 or 15 years that have been mostly economic, and once more, I believe, this is the issue. And I'm going to sound like every other Silicon Valley nerd telling you this, that there is a form of AI that will blow the doors wide open once more. We should, in my opinion, figure out how to increase the likelihood of it. I believe that there will be a crazy explosion in materials between years 2 and 5. This may sound silly, but I think it's one of the coolest things. The remarkable thing about the periodic table of elements is that we continually adding new ones. Approximately 118 elements are present. In fact, we only made a theoretical prediction that there would be 119. Thus, we construct a small box. It is theoretical, but it will manifest. Additionally, they predicted that there would be 142. All right, so the elements periodic table grows. Today's lived world, however, is a very limited manifestation of all of those things. We repeatedly employ a small number of materials. That, in my opinion, is the next stage of AI. According to what you stated, we will develop a variety of materials and have these PhD-level robots and agents within the next 2 to 5 years. You will have a non-stick frying pan that doesn't require heating. As with anything, you know, from the most amazing to the most harmless, we will simply re-engineer the Earth. It's going to be insane. It is going to be amazing. That is advantageous to all of us. We are unsure of the specific job class that is created by that, working with boron and selenium. Please don't. I'm making these things up. Essentially, the idea is that that is, in the midway stage. Our physical reality will therefore undergo a complete transformation. In my opinion, you enter a world where physical robots will perform tasks that, in retrospect, will make a great deal of sense. It's not just about robots and computers. Thus, an illustration. Over the weekend, this was on my mind. What if you had a group of Tesla robots who looked like Optimus, and they were the highway patrol and beat cops? Well, what takes place there? First of all, you don't obstruct others. I have a suspicion that those robots' responses would then differ significantly. Robots would now be commanded from a distance, correct? Therefore, the remote people of today may represent a completely different typology. The psychological components and judgment are now added on top of the physical necessities of law enforcement. My point is that, in my opinion, having robots that might perform risky tasks for people would free up humans to perform judgment. That is, the more ambiguous and gray regions of judgment. Computers will not be able to replace humans in that capacity for a very long time. I firmly believe that. The main thing we have done wrong, in my opinion, with what is to come is that certain people have attempted to claim that AI is the end-all be-all. The best way to look at this, in my opinion, is to consider how, in the past, you had to spell-check your emails, but now you just don't give it any thought because Gmail fixes it for you. It elevates us, doesn't it? In the past, you had to memorize the specifics of things like wild theories or arbitrary facts. You may now simply Google it. So you can stop thinking about it and concentrate on other things. Because you're spending less time on pointless things, you'll have more time to be creative while writing your next set, your next interview, or your business. These models, in my opinion, are accomplishing that, and they will be supplemented by physical models, that is, actual robots, that will perform a great deal of work for us. across, regardless of body weight. Once more, it enables people to concentrate on the things in which we truly excel. I certainly believe that it leads to complications, but we need to resolve those. It is therefore somewhat short, medium, and long-term. It appears to be inevitable, don't you think? The rise of AI and its future direction are unavoidable. We should presumably strive to steer it, at least in a way that is advantageous to all, since it is inevitable. And like you, I can envision a future in which artificial intelligence transforms everything. And one of the things that gives me the most optimism is that translation will improve so that we can better understand one another. It is a major contributing factor to the global issue. We are unable to communicate effectively because, well, it's the Tower of Babel. Therefore, we have no idea what the issues are in these specific regions, or how we and others feel about each other. Yes, we are unable to sympathize. When you don't even know what someone is saying, it's quite simple to not understand them. Have you ever been in a scenario when someone was translating for you? No compassion. Nothing. The issue is that because it's in the first person, the person there is speaking to you in a particular tone. Yes, I have experienced that with my interviewees. I've had interpreters. Yes, but it's really difficult to sympathize with this individual when you're here. You hear the words because you're trying to catch it, and you're concentrating on this individual. I believe that some of the meaning is lost, and then you return to this person and say something, and they are experiencing the same issue that you are. I therefore concur with that. The translation feature is awesome. I believe that there will be a lot of pressure on some occupations, some negative aspects, and there is simply a lot of stuff. So we need to figure things out so it's not all sunshine and daisies. However, certain places are just bananas, if you can imagine them. If you wish, I can offer you a couple. I believe, all right? I'll start with the most plausible and end with the craziest. All oak, all right. Do you know whether someone has got breast cancer today, then? What do you believe the current mistake rate is for all American hospitals if they visit a doctor, a hospital, or any other hospital and the doctor tells them, "We need to do a lumpectomy," which means that they must remove a mass from their breast in order to remove the cancer? About 30% of it. Whoa! Additionally, it might be as high as 40% at regional hospitals, which are located in underdeveloped or remote areas of the United States. The doctor is not to blame for this. All right, so the issue is that you're making him or her stare into tissue while attempting to determine the border. Where does the cancer end? That means that for every 10 procedures, a week later, picture this, you have surgery for breast cancer, and they remove it and send it to the pathologist. You're essentially waiting for the pathologist, who takes 7 to 11 days to complete. Your clean margins, you're great, is the response to 7 of the calls. Proceed to the following step now. I'm sorry, there's still cancer inside your body, was said in 3 of the calls. 3. Therefore, if we didn't do that, these women now go back 4. Furthermore, the alternative proves to be really harsh. 10 procedures for every 14. I mean, the world's most developed country shouldn't be acting in that way, should it? All right, so if you do that for breast cancer, the cause of breast cancer is, that's really amazing, and it's inevitable.